I'm trying to record a podcast.
Hey everybody, Angela Ardolino here with Your Natural Dog, and my guest today is Naja Muller. She is a holistic health practitioner and the owner of Tonka's Journey, where she also cares for handicapped dogs. She is one of my favorite people who is really in it for the dogs and has been able to holistically control and help her dogs with their pain and inflammation. And we're going to talk about it all today. We're going to talk everything from, of course, a full spectrum hemp extract to THC to even psilocybin and all of the modalities she uses to keep her dogs happy, moving, and pain-free. So stay tuned. And we're back with Naja Muller, and we're talking everything about pain today. And I know pain is a pain, but it can be controlled holistically. Totally. And I learned that with Nina when Nina got osteosarcoma, and I was able to control her pain. And what a lot of people know by now, because I talk about it all the time, is that the way I was able to control her pain completely was by adding THC to her regimen. So I just wanted people to understand that herbs and mushrooms can really provide pain relief. And it's just a matter of like, okay, here's what an aspirin would be like in plant world or mushroom world. Here's what a Tylenol would be. Here's what an extra strength Tylenol would be. Here's what a Tylenol with codeine. Here's what's an oxycodone. Here's what morphine. All of those things come from plants and mushrooms. So what Naja and I want to share with you is which one of those plants and mushrooms can provide those things. Because the problems with the pharmaceuticals is the very, very harsh side effects. And when they are given long-term, they really, really have horrible repercussions. Like we were just talking about Tonka. Tonka is 9 years old now. And I just said to her, I know 9 years old is, considered geriatric in some breeds, but he is a senior and he is a handicapped senior that you have taken the most incredible care of. But I said something to you, which is if you had gone the conventional route, I can guarantee you Tonka wouldn't still be with us because his organs would not have been able to deal with them trying to figure out which pain med, which combination of pain meds would bring him relief. So nice work, Naja. And that's why I have you on here. Naja takes care of dogs that, wouldn't be here if you hadn't been taking care of them. And they live a very happy, pain-free life. And we get to see that, on your social media channels. But let's talk about pain. So pain works through 5 signaling pathways. And that's what people need to understand is that pharmaceutical drugs are made to interact individually with those pathways, which is why when we have a dog with pain and we get prescribed a pain med, you come back, you always have to do blood work because they're doing blood work to make sure that it's not killing the dog. But they always ask you, so how's your dog's pain? Oh, well, he's a little better, but not quite completely pain-free. So they give them another pain med and another one. And then before you know it, they're on 5 different pain meds. And that's because they're each interacting with one of those pathways. When we already have the research and proof that cannabis interacts with all 5 of those pathways. And we're pretty sure psilocybin does too. And we'll talk about that a little later in the podcast. Let's talk about these 5 pain pathways. So I'll start with the first one just so that I'm going to literally read. But transduction, this is when pain is detected at the site of the injury or inflammation. So example, arthritis in a joint type of thing would be considered transduction, right?
Right.
Second one is transmission. The pain signal travels from the nerves to the spinal cord. The third is modulation. The spinal cord amplifies or dampens the pain signal. 4 is projection. The signal is sent from the spinal cord to the brain. And 5 is perception. The brain experiences it as pain. So again, drugs interact with 1, plants and mushrooms interact with all five. And it's just a matter of figuring out what type of pain it is that they're feeling, how they're experiencing it, and then giving that to them. So when you first started this journey with Tonka, like what made you go, oh my God, I can't go the conventional route? Like what made you go the holistic route and figure out what would work for him?
It was actually before Tonka, my dog Tripp, just like Mia, he had osteosarcoma. And it had already metastasized to his lungs when we got the diagnosis. He was 11 years old. They gave me pain meds to just keep him, not painful, comfortable until it was time. I had the recommendation to euthanize him in a couple days. Those couple days went, and I knew he wasn't ready to go. Like I said, they gave me the prescription of the meloxicam and gabapentin, probably. I don't remember what they gave me, but they gave it to me. And this is back in like 2016. I gave him the drugs, and, I had already been doing holistic stuff already, but, this was my first cancer dog. So I gave him the drugs. A week went by. Can I swear? He couldn't shit. Okay. He couldn't poop.
Constipation, first and number one side effect.
Exactly. So I'm like, oh, okay, keep him comfortable, but he can't shit. That doesn't sound like a good scenario to me. So I reached out to my friend in California, my old roommate, who was big in medical cannabis for her own body with Crohn's disease. So she said to me, hey, I'm going to send you all this stuff. Get off that shit. And we did. And I was, for the next 6 months, managing his pain with high amounts of THC, CBD, and a wheelchair. And he lived a really great quality of life for 6 months after we had the diagnosis of, pretty gnarly osteosarcoma and in the rear leg, and then metastasis all throughout his lungs. Like, you could see it pretty bad. So that is kind of what sparked my interest in pain management. And then Tonka came along, and he was born with challenges. He was born with front end deformities, just like my other two, Summer and Macy, were also born that way. And I knew from the beginning that we'd be managing pain from a very, very early on point in his life. It wasn't going to be like, oh, he's a senior now, and okay, we got to give him some stuff. No, it was like, okay, he's 2. And now I got to start dealing with osteoarthritis. And even prior to that, so I made a decision a long time ago, after Tripp, when Tonka came into my life, that I wasn't going to do it conventionally, because I knew the side effects. I knew the damaging effects of conventional pharmaceuticals. And, it's bad enough that he's got all this stuff to deal with. But like you're saying, with the 5 pain pathways, like you give him one drug, oh, maybe it works. Like, I don't have the time to figure that out. It's not just about the side effects, but it's the time that he's still going to be suffering with things not working. Right. So let's get something that's going to work from the beginning on everything. And then we continue on. So,
I mean, I remember like literally thinking at my rescue, like, what's my biggest fear? What's our biggest worry? That they're going to suffer, or that they are suffering. So when I discovered the thing that would take away all suffering, meaning all pain, and it's stress and anxiety, meaning literally taking away all suffering from the animal, I'm like, I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I'd always worried about one of the sick or the old ones getting into something or getting in trouble or something, and I wouldn't be able to immediately take away that suffering. We can. Yeah. And not only can we immediately take away that suffering, you're telling me your dog had already had metastasis in its lungs and still lived 6 months, which is incredible, because that THC and CBD, or that you weren't taking them as isolates, but you were taking them in a full extract of cannabis or full spectrum. They were also killing cancer cells and helping your dog live longer, because it's amazing. It's beautiful. Yeah. I don't know about any pain med that has any other therapeutic benefit to it whatsoever.
No.
So it's a beautiful thing. Now, I know you practice a lot with both FICO, which is full extract of cannabis oil, which has more THC, which is more human, which I also work with all the time. And that was kind of how I think we Well, we met each other at a conference
Right.
forever
We
ago,
did.
but
yeah,
but bonded over our
the sisterhood
loves
came
for
from
THC. That's right.
cannabis.
That's right. Naja and I have known each other since 2019, 18 or
I think it was
19,
18, yeah.
and have been sharing our success cases and what we've been able to do with cannabis with each other. And I haven't had a single bad case. I haven't.
Neither.
Matter of fact, the lady I just told you about,
I just talked to her.
And I was going to say, she just wrote me the most beautiful email going, oh my God, you're from, this is what I always hear. You're sent from God. You're, whatever, because you and I are doing what nobody else is doing,
Absolutely.
that people just want their animals not to suffer and they just want them to get better. And that's literally what these do.
Yeah. And not to mention all these drugs, all the pharmaceuticals, they turn your animals into a zombie. Yeah, that's not a good quality of life. It's, of course, THC, they're going to get high from it, but you can dampen that effect, that psychoactive effect, by giving a higher dose of CBD. A lot of people don't know that. I know you've mentioned it many times on many different podcasts that you've hosted.
I love telling
a lot of people.
Story.
A lot of people, they just, I tell people that's like new information to everyone all the time for some reason, but and I tell people all the time too, if you're using THC, the FICO or the RSO, whatever you want to call it, with your animals for anything, try it first. Try it yourself. Do the experiment. Try it yourself. Oh, wow, I got too high. Let me take some CBD. And you can experience what they're going to experience. The first time I with Tripp, my cancer dog, my friend sent me the FICO, and it was in the syringe and it was super gooey and it was really hard to dose it. So I took the rice size amount, and in 10 minutes I was knocked out, drooling, like totally passed out. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I felt great afterwards. Right. And then I learned from there how to dose it better and all the things. But it's your animal using the high amounts of THC. They don't have to be super high, and they will build up a tolerance if you're like, I use it regularly. Tonka gets, I don't even know how much, like, I don't even measure it anymore, but he gets like
a quarter of a rice size. Yeah.
Well, I don't do it. So what I do is I dilute it and I put it so it's easier for dosage. And it's just not as messy, So I give him probably like a quarter to like half a syringe or half a dropper.
You could never do that with a pharmaceutical. I gave him
Right.
That's what's beautiful about using something natural, is that the body recognizes it in its whole form. If you get too much, it's not going to cause damage. It's just going to get it out of the body. And so you said two things. I just want to make sure our listeners know. We said we're using the terms FECO, FECO, which stands for full extract of cannabis oil, or it's also called RSO, which is Rick Simpson oil, which Rick Simpson was a hemp farmer, cannabis farmer who was always out in the sun and got skin cancer, and literally took the flowers and crushed them, and put the extracts on his cancer and cured himself. So it's literally called RSO after Rick Simpson.
Yeah.
So we already have proof that the whole thing's named after him. But that's what those things stand for. And THC is present in both of those things. Okay, so let's talk about some of the pharmaceuticals, because I just want to touch on them. So NSAIDs like carbuprofen, Rimadyl, meloxicam, daracoxib. I'm trying to read them here.
I can't even pronounce them.
They all deal with the acute pain, the pain that's detected from the site of the injury. So like joint pain, post-surgical arthritis, like it's very coming from a certain place. Problem is, you cannot take NSAIDs long-term.
Nope.
NSAIDs cannot be used even for like a month, because it is, they cause GI ulcers. They wreck and destroy the stomach and gut. They cause diarrhea, vomiting, liver damage, kidney failure, and bleeding disorders. I believe there's been 2 different letters from the FDA to veterinarians reminding them of the dangers of NSAIDs and how they need to stop prescribing them. They've also done the same thing for opioids, where they have literally put out a warning reminding veterinarians, please stop using these very dangerous opioids. We have pain relievers. Please stop turning to these opioids. They're not meant for veterinary use, and the damage is unbelievable. What is the damage? Major sedation, no quality of life, right? They're sleeping.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've dealt with? Respiratory depression, constipation. Now let's remember, constipation means
the constipation's the worst.
Like the worst feeling, but we're also not getting the toxins out.
Exactly. And it's building up. And the majority of people, unfortunately, are feeding kibble. Majority of people are feeding like crappy foods, and that crappy food is staying and it's leaching out into the body, causing, leaky gut and all these other things.
Well, let's talk about just the synthetic ingredients in the opioid. Okay, so the liver gets the opioid and goes, what the hell is this? Okay, works on it. Sometimes releases it back into the bloodstream so that it can move on with its life and do its job. It comes back again, and oftentimes it goes and stores it in the dog's fatty tissue because it doesn't know what these synthetic ingredients are. And if it does go, okay, let me put this over here and let me take this and get it out of the body, and sends it out through the poop, now it's stuck in your dog. Now it's not getting out. It's getting back in. When you're constipated and that waste is stuck in there, it literally gets reabsorbed and back through the bloodstream. So constipation isn't just uncomfortable and painful. It's dangerous, especially when you're taking opioids. So hate them.
And then when it finally does move and come out of the body, it's not coming out in a nice, healthy formed scenario. It's painful. It's super stinky. It's messy. It's all the things. And it doesn't feel good to have diarrhea.
It does not.
Not at
does
all.
not.
Not at all.
So yeah, let's not do them. But we also got steroids, patches and injections. I don't even know what the hell this is. Oh, something given as an antidepressant to help with pain. And then, of course, the wonderful things they give our dogs to stop itching and all the things that they cause. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to turn to these things. We can turn
good old
to
Librela.
Oh, the newest drug. Like, what is it going to take for people to stop trusting pharmaceutical companies? This is a brand new drug that hasn't even been on the market 6 months, and the FDA has already had to put out a letter warning.
Right.
Why isn't it being taken off the market?
I know. I don't understand. And that I can't remember the vet's name who basically was the whistleblower on it. And he, it's causing early or rapid onset osteoarthritis. And it's like you can clinically see that in radiographs and MRIs and all that stuff. It's, maybe the dog's not having an adverse reaction to it, but you take the pictures and this is what you're seeing. And people, there's all, I swear by it. It was so great for until it's not so great for them and it freaking kills them.
Right. Until they're dead. And then there's pain's big business, man. Pain is huge business. And it's like, it needs to be more of a proactive, what do we need to take out of the animal's lifestyle, and what do we need to introduce into there? And what a lot of people do, it's the number one thing, they go to the vet, they get put on a pain med, or they buy a supplement, a joint supplement that has like glucosamine or chondroitin in it, which are both isolates, which they have to be in a certain potency and form to even be bioavailable to the body. And let me remind everyone that 85% of supplements on the market, even those formulated by doctors and veterinarians, are ineffective and don't work.
They don't work, and they probably don't even have what they're saying is in it.
Exactly. So I'd stay away. I'd rather get the glucosamine and chondroitin in the diet and food. What are some foods that you love that do provide, joint support and keep them healthy and pain-free? What are some of your favorite things that you introduce?
Anything that has the high omegas in it, like the good omegas, the omega-3s, sardines, the fatty fish, fish oils. But if you are getting a fish oil, you really want to do your research, see what a good brand is, all the things. Don't let it oxidize, yada, yada, yada. But, that, and as well as there's, a lot of great vegetables out there too that have the nutrients that you need, anti-inflammatory foods. I mean, I feed them a lot of fish. I have a client who goes fishing, and he brings me a lot of I get fresh fish, which is awesome. So,
Awesome.
I'm lucky in that. And then also making sure that I'm not feeding them energetically hot foods.
Exactly.
My dogs are always eating things that are neutral or cooling. Rabbit is one of our favorites around here.
Same.
But rabbit, duck, turkey, beaver. I found
Fish.
beaver. Yeah, fish. But I don't get fish in the quantities that I want to kind of feed whole meals. So it's just a little bit here and there. And then I do a lot of air dried things different fish stuff. Fish heads, the whole fish, all those things.
Bone broth.
What we feed. Bone broth. Love the bone broth. Yep.
With the jelly in it.
With the jelly. My mom makes the best stuff.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Even imagine. Great. And let's talk about I don't like calling hemp and mushroom supplements, even though in the United States they're considered. Hemp and mushrooms are, in my opinion, foods. They're
foods.
Considered food in Europe. And
if you can eat it, it's food, right?
Exactly. And they're very important in our diet. Both mushrooms, eating them, cooking them up and eating them, and also taking their extracts as medicine. I'm not allowed to call it medicine.
I know.
But that's what it is. It's true nature's medicine. Mother Nature provides us with all the food and medicine that we need. And if we could just
100%.
extract it and put it in a safe preservative or get it in its real form, it's going to help us. Let's talk about some of our favorites that you use. I know, like we said, you're a big fan of Pico and RSO, as I am also. Right now, my two old girls are about 13, 14, between 13 and 15 years old. And they do get full dropper, full spectrum, both morning and night with medicinal mushrooms. I haven't had to turn to more THC yet. I probably won't unless they do come across some sort of, injury or
something
disease.
Cute.
But doing my damnedest to keep them that way.
Right.
If it goes along with all my other senior dogs, is not until the very end of life will I need it. Just to bring down that anxiety and get rid of any pain. But other than that, I think I'm going to be good. I know I'm a huge fan of turmeric, huge fan of frankincense, which is what I put in my ease, which is in my ease that I made for both myself when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and with for my soul dog, Odie, who was diagnosed at the same time with degenerative myelopathy. And neither one of our diseases progressed, and neither one of us ever had to take an additional painkiller.
So awesome.
Or anything. So
that's so
of course,
awesome.
diet's always a big player. You can't, you're going to get relief, but if you don't change that diet and do something about that diet, you're never going to be able to get to homeostasis. But I'm a big fan of ashwagandha, frankincense, of course, all the mushrooms that have already been proven that are great for pain management, like reishi, lion's mane, cordyceps, so good. What are some of your favorites that I haven't mentioned?
As far as mushrooms, I love where I live in New England. I live in the Northeast, so there's a lot of mushrooms, just to go out and forage. And I actually just pulled a chicken of the woods off my tree in the front of my house. It was
I'm so jealous.
It was huge. It was really, really big. So my mom, she's taking care of cooking that up. And the dogs love eating that stuff too. So I make sure that I'm cooking things properly, the ones that need to be cooked, and, doing all the things. But, we use all 4 of your tinctures because they're so easy to use. They taste good. The dogs have no problem. I think them being in a liquid form it makes it so much easier.
Well, remember, mushrooms are water and so are we. So why would we dry a liquid extract? The only reason we would dry a liquid extract is to make the company more money, to make it cheaper for them to ship, to cut it with other things. And powder can be convenient, but the problem is that often there's other things hiding in that powder.
Yeah, all kinds of weird crap. I don't get it. I just don't get it at all. But, we love, what else do we use? Coca-Cola, UC2 collagen. That is a supplement that I use. But one of the supplements I use, it has like very limited ingredients. And there are COAs for that company, which is called Jope, if I can say that.
Awesome.
They're really, really good.
So she brought up a COA, certificate of analysis, meaning
gotta have that.
Yes, Naja and I do not mess with any natural products that do not come with a COA, a certificate of analysis, from a third-party lab, meaning it can't come from in-house and say, I can't create a thing that says, my stuff's great.
Yeah.
No, gotta come from somebody else.
Yeah.
So if you do have something, always make sure that you have that COA to make sure that it is free of contaminants, meaning it doesn't have pesticides, herbicides, solvents, heavy metals, mycotoxins, anything that's going to hurt your dog. You have to make sure this is the only way that the supplement industry and the natural industry can regulate ourselves. That's the only way that I can prove to you that I'm pure. And if you're not getting it from that other product, it can look like mine. It could be called the same thing. It's not the same thing. There is no regulation. So yes, COA, thank you for bringing that up.
Yes. Boswellia, I don't know if either of us mentioned that. That's a good one. Skullcap, passion flower. There's so many. There's so many.
And that's how we use them too, is that I always start with a full spectrum hemp extract and then stack the other adaptogens to make it an extra strength, like I said before, and make it even more stronger. So we're going to talk about one other natural thing that you work with, which is psilocybin. But before we do that, I want to talk about all of the other modalities and treatments that you also do to help your animals deal with pain. Because you're great with those. I did a lot of like red light, some sissy loop. I always did acupuncture and chiropractic, but man, you do it all. And I love it because you always show how wonderful it all works. So tell us some of your favorites.
Yeah. So all these modalities I'm going to mention are things that I have at home that I'm able to utilize at home. If you were to go out and get these treatments, yes, it does cost you an arm and a leg. It's super expensive. But if you educate yourself, you can use these modalities in home. There's so many great products out there that, and again, you need to vet those products because they're so just like supplements, these different tools that I use, like there's a lot of crappy ones and then there's really good ones. So make sure you vet them. On my Instagram and my TikTok page, I have a link, and in that link, it's like a link tree. There's everything that I use.
Awesome.
There's links to your company. There's links for the red light that I use, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, so going back to it, I have red light therapy, blue light therapy, green light therapy. I have all of those in a little wand. It's called a multi-light. So I'm able to do targeted stuff with that. Like Tonka, for example, just had some teeth taken out. He came home. I didn't use the antibiotics when he got home. I didn't use the painkillers that they were going to send me with. I mean, I have all that stuff on hand just in case, I'm not crazy, but
I used to keep them just as props for videos.
Right, exactly. Like I have a little drawer that's labeled pharmaceuticals and it never opens. It never opens.
Same. And it was funny though, at the end, I started like before I moved, I was like, I'm sick of this. Like every time I rescued or adopted, I'd cut a whole Ziploc full of shit. And then it stopped. I'm like, I'm not taking it. Don't give it to me. Don't charge me for it.
Too.
I don't. Yes, it's expensive. And I don't even know how to dispose of it.
I know, that's why it's still sitting in the drawer.
Exactly. So now I just say, no, I do not need that. No, or often, and if pet parents don't know what to say, I often say, I'm working with a holistic vet, and I've got that taken care of, so I do not need this.
Yeah. Don't worry about pissing them off. I wouldn't worry about pissing anybody off. But if you are worried and you have disposable income, just, take it and put it in storage. You don't have to use it just because you're getting sent home with it. That's the key to it. You do not have to use it.
And my opinion is don't go home with it. Tell them you don't want it.
Yeah,
and that's okay. Yeah. Let them dispose of it. Figure it out.
Exactly. But yeah, so I have he got his teeth taken out. So I used blue light, which hits for antimicrobial, antibiotic. It has all those benefits to it. And then I hit it with the red light after that, which is for pain and for inflammation. So that's
Awesome.
like, what I use my little wand. It's targeted. And then I have a mat that also has red light built into it. It's got infrared heat built into it. It has pulse electromagnetic field therapy built into it. And it also has gemstones built into it. And it has a TENS unit, which I do not use the TENS unit on my dogs because it's a really powerful one. I use it on myself, but I don't use it on the dogs. But I also have a at-home cold laser unit, which is marketed for the pet parent. So it's not super strong. You're not going to hurt your animal with it. I have a tuning fork, which that's kind of one of my newest things that I have. And it's freaking amazing.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. My mom does Reiki, and she lives 5 minutes away. I have an ozone generator, so I do ozone therapy at home.
Yeah, I used to do ozone too.
Acupuncture and chiropractic, that's, of course, at the vet because I don't do those myself. But that little targeted red light thing I was talking about, I can use that on acupressure points. So it's kind of like doing acupuncture without the needles. So that's really neat. And then I do a lot of massaging. A lot of just body work. My dogs are very receptive to it. Again, you've got to go with the animal in front of you, watch their signals. If they don't like something, you don't do it. But my dogs love everything I do. Like, and Tonka, I do like deep tissue on him, and he just absolutely loves it.
I'm sure.
So yeah, so those are the tools that I'm using, and then I have things like it's like a heating pad and a vibrational pad that they're wireless. So he can wear them and like walk around the house with them on. And I've got one for his back, one for his hips, one for his neck, like different areas. And they just Velcro on and he can just run around the house or not and lay around with all these little, he's got devices up the Yahoo. And it's great because I can use the devices on myself too. So that's kind of another great thing about holistic stuff. The supplements, especially yours, I take all those myself. Like those are ingested by me all the time, super safe. I get benefit. The dogs get benefit. All the tools that I have, I use them all on myself. I use them, my fiance, he is an amputee, so he's got all kinds of issues. So he's kind of my guinea pig. Like, the tuning fork, when I first started using the tuning fork. Yeah. How does that feel? Does that feel okay? And like the other night, his hand was hurting and he was like, can you do what you do for Tonka on me? I'm like, yeah. And then the next day he's like, I think that tuning fork really worked. I'm like, yeah, babe, I told you. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So let's talk about what you are, I think, a pioneer in, because we've been talking about it and you've been using it for a long time now, and that is psilocybin. And psilocybin is the psychoactive compound found in some mushrooms. So, but it is also an incredible medicine. I've taken it and have experienced the life-changing, beautiful medicine.
Right.
And you're using it. So we did have a piece of research, which I can't remember when it came out. And that's literally the protocol I followed when I did psilocybin.
For the microdosing, you mean?
No, it wasn't the microdosing. It was the one for people who were depressed.
Oh, okay.
Had either cancer pain and depression, had depression for more than 18 years and had tried everything and never had anything. And it was like very extensive. They didn't just follow these people. They followed the people they worked with, family members, interviewed everybody. But basically, psilocybin, of course, took care of the depression, got rid of pain, did all of these incredible things, which was why I was like, all right, I'm trying it. And it was great. But you have been using it, of course, on yourself. But tell me what you have been able to do with Tonka, because it's basically interacting with all 5 pathways. I'm sure it is interacting with the endocannabinoid system, because we already have several of these medicinal mushrooms who interact with the endocannabinoid system and get rid of inflammation and deal with the pain pathways. What have you experienced? Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, Tonka, I'm always looking for long-term relief for him. And I'm also looking to, I don't want to use everything I can possibly get my hands on. It's crazy if I'm dumping a million supplements into his daily meals or whatever. So I have found that cannabis and psilocybin and a few other supporting supplements have kind of just been what we needed.
Same.
He's, I obviously, like, I researched the crap out of it before I started giving it to him. I started using it myself for more of emotional type stuff, and also for pain. And I've found that using it on myself, microdosing, I am noticing a difference in pain. Like, I have some chronic issues because I've been an athlete my whole life. So I've got, my hips are a mess, my back is a mess, all these things. And, utilizing CBD, utilizing psilocybin in a microdosing way has benefited me. So I started using it with Tonka, and we've been using it for, I think, 2 years now or something. And I'm not super consistent. Like, we'll do periods of time, I'll do it for a few months and then I'll stop. And then I noticed it the most when I stopped using it. Right. So the first time around, I used it, I think for the first time around, I did it for a month, and I was like, I don't know if it's working. Because I was, I had the other supplements, the CBD, I was using all these other things. I'm like, I'm not 100% sure if it's working, but it's not harming him. It's not doing anything bad. So I continued for the month, and then I stopped. And then when I stopped, I did notice 2 steps back with his mobility and just, with some things. So we've been on and off with it, like I said, over the course of 2 years. And another thing, a big notice, my vet that I see that does acupuncture and chiropractic on him, she's also an animal communicator. So she has, and I'm, very transparent with her about everything that I'm doing with him. And she's very supportive. And she has told me that she feels, since I started doing that with him, kind of a more openness of him wanting to receive treatments and how he gets through the treatments and how it's benefiting him. So that was really neat.
Before we even got started the podcast and we were talking about the pathways, we were talking about it's probably the perception of the pain that it is making new neural pathways. And I wanted you to read.
Do you want me to read that?
I wanted you to read what I made you read to me so that I could understand it, because I didn't understand quite how forming a new neural pathway, why it's so benefit and how does it help pain. And you read this to me.
So I wrote this up so I could not
explain it
over my words, and I could explain it so people can really understand it. So here we go. All right. So how psilocybin may work. Multi-pathway action. Psilocybin appears to act on multiple pain pathways, both peripheral and central. Serotonergic pathways as an agonist or partial agonist on the 5-HT2A and potentially the 5-HT1A receptors. Psilocybin influences pain processing in the brain and spinal cord. This can reduce pain perception and chronic pain, though effects can vary depending on the location and pain type. Neuroplasticity and brain connectivity. Psilocybin promotes neuroplasticity, helping to rewire maladaptive pain connections and increasing functional connectivity in regions like the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex, which are key for pain control.
So it stops the bad pathway and makes the pathway go to the part of the brain that gets rid of pain.
Crazy, right?
And this is something that grows out of the ground that Mother Nature has provided.
Nature.
And those receptors, now, she said some fancy things in there. Those receptors are part of the endocannabinoid system. All of the pain receptors are now considered part of the endocannabinoid system. And that is why it is so powerful and incredible. I remember when you first started with him on it 2 years ago, the things you were first noticing were his aggression, that he was no longer more relaxed and didn't want to pick a fight with every dog that he saw. You said that he stopped the peeing when he would get excited.
I forgot about that.
Somebody was coming in the door. Because I remember you had started, and the next week I was like, tell me what you're seeing. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. So I totally forgot about the peeing.
And we have the research, right? That it's amazing for PTSD, amazing for depression, amazing for fear and anxiety. So that's why it works so well for Tonka. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
But it's kind of what we were talking about, the emotional aspects of it and the anti-inflammatory effects. It reduces levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, and that helps to manage inflammatory pain, which pain is inflammatory. So,
right.
Yeah.
And it's basically a lot like cannabis.
Yeah. And also it's, all these plants and, I don't want to call them mushroom plants because they're not plants, but they're nature and they're meant to work synergistically together. Yeah.
So
they're all
the mushrooms that do these, that have these incredible medicinal properties are also all adaptogens. So you can call them adaptogens. The plants and mushrooms that just get together, meaning an adaptogen, when you take it, Tonka takes or I take it, it adapts to what we need, to the stressors that we're experiencing. So it's not going to do the same thing for every single person. It's going to do what they need, which is even better. So I just want people to not blindly trust the person in the white coat. And if you do get a prescription pain med, you're going to want to look up those side effects. Try not to use it very long. If you need help, you can always reach out to me or Naja to find out what you could use that's natural and won't hurt your animal at the same time.
Yeah.
Naja, tell people where they can find you and follow you. And you must follow her because it is the best social media channels. You share everything you do with your baby's dogs, and I love it.
Yes. Yes. So it's Tonka's journey across the board. I have an Instagram channel, TikTok channel, and a Facebook. On TikTok, it is Tonka's, like a Tonka truck, TONKAS .journey. And on Instagram, it's the same thing, but instead of a dot, it's an underscore. And on Facebook, it's just Tonka's journey. I am a certified holistic pet health coach. I'm working on my website right now. It is live, but it's not where I want it to be. But you can contact me through that. And that is Green Paws, GREENPAWS.
We'll have it in the show notes. But
yes,
I always refer people who reach out to us. A lot of people call in our customer service. If you do want help getting your dog off of pain meds and onto something more natural, Naja's your girl.
Call me, baby.
Naja is your girl. Naja is also the person that when someone does need THC and they need help picking it and finding it and choosing it, she's also good for that. So even if you are in a legal state and you need help going to dispensary and finding a FICO or an RSO product, she can help you do that also. Naja, thank you so much. You're amazing. I'm so proud to call you my friend. And thanks for sharing all of this knowledge today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I think just side note, I think everybody, your pets are, for most of us, our pets are our kids. And, you just got to do no harm when you're trying to help them.
Do no harm.
It's huge because if you're doing all these other things, you're causing more problems that they don't need. So let's try to find the most natural way possible.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please make sure to leave us a review wherever you're listening from. This is the best way to help pet parents like you find these episodes and get access to all our content. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Your Natural Dog and at AngelaArdolino.com.